Okay, sounds good. So we're just gonna go over process, follow-up, and then any sort of information everybody needs to know, which I don't have anything, but I figure you all probably do, potentially anyway. And then Tanette's gonna do some vaccine education, because we have a lot of new faces, and we kinda wanna make sure everybody knows when, why, and what do these vaccines cover, so if clients ask, we are kind of prepared for that. And I feel like it's just good to know all that. And then some staff shout outs, kind of like we did last week. And that's all I have. So does anybody have any, I know that we started laminating our travel sheets to reduce the paper waste. Has that improved compliance and made less waste? Okay,
I
awesome.
think it would be good.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
compared today.
Oh,
I think it would
awesome.
be good overall.
Would it be helpful if we like paper clipped it to the front of the file so you like had to touch it, had to like, I don't know,
Maybe.
like physical cues?
I think on the annual wellness, like appointments, it's, you know,
Yeah.
usually the girls already have everything in and
Oh.
charges complete before I get to it.
Gotcha, yeah.
So, and today's been pretty routine, so I
Okay,
think
yeah.
that's more the,
Yeah. Has the charges complete been pretty good as far as compliance?
Pretty steady, there's still a few where we miss
Couple where
it, but
sometimes we have to go back, but
Yeah.
Well, like on Tuesday, I was the one that was going in on the rooms because
Yeah.
we didn't have Kelsey anymore.
Okay.
So, like on days like that where I'm constantly going in rooms,
Yeah.
sometimes I can't get
Yeah.
to it. So, but
I think one of the biggest things that's really gonna help get people used to entering it is if the receptionist makes a habit of not ringing them out until it's in. Just don't. If it's
Yeah.
not in, walk
Yeah.
back there and tell someone to put
Yeah.
it in if it's done.
Yeah, because the aggravation will be on the technician so that
So
like
they'll
a cue.
start remembering this has to be in, otherwise they're gonna be back here asking me where it's at.
Gotcha. Yeah,
And
no,
I
I feel like
guess-
that works.
and I guess we have to wait until the very end, obviously.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
we might need our meds.
Yeah. It seems like the flow though of medication and all that seems to be better from what I can gather.
I do feel like it has gotten better.
Yeah. So like 5% better, 10% better? I feel like any better is good, but
I don't know, I don't do
yeah.
percentages.
Like just like overall like your feeling about it.
I think we're still working on building the habit, but I think that eventually it will become habit and that
Yeah.
it's on the way there.
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of really good habits.
I feel like the clients going up front before the meds are filled has actually decreased too. We haven't really had that problem in the last
Yeah.
week where
That
clients
seems
are
to be
waiting
our
up front
big-
for it.
That's the
Really?
moment.
Yeah, or they just get stuck in there and
Yeah.
just don't leave.
That happened yesterday, actually. I actually had one that was in the, we had moved on, and they were still in the room.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. What, like those things that they have in doctor's offices that have like the, I don't know what they're called, but they're like plastic flap things that show
Like flags.
flags, yeah. That
Yeah.
would that be
Yeah.
helpful?
We've
Or would it
talked
just
about
be-
those in the past.
But would it be
I don't know.
really that value added?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Yeah.
I think it just comes down to what the clients hear, you know.
Yeah.
and that kind of-
Usually at doctor's office, there's one person that works with the one doctor, and it's not
Yeah.
that big.
Which
of a deal.
would be great, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
No. Yeah.
We'll all be drawing straws at the beginning of the shift.
Yep.
Ideas. Ideas. Rotation, like chore. I don't
There
know.
we go.
Oh, we could do that.
Where everyone gets screwed once a week.
Okay. And then any heads up?
I have something on the improvements.
Okay, go for it, Julie.
On the boarding treatment sheets. Want to make sure that every board that comes in has one with its stuff. I think the world's worst was Macy at it, but I always have to double check her. I did say something to her though, so hopefully.
And pull the files. We have got, I mean, I actually had one last week. And it was needed in the annual wellness. There's no reason
Yes.
to not pull
Pull
that
files.
file. That file should be in its blue box with all of the rest of its belongings. If that animal needs, I had a Sunday where I had a dog that looked like a diabetic and I had to go searching for the file. Plus I had to do blood work on the dog and, you know, it was just like, just pull the file.
Yeah.
Just pull the file.
Yeah.
Just pull the file.
And it's important for everybody, but especially if it's a medicine or
Yeah,
a
I mean, if you
vaccine.
need something, like if you need on the spur of a moment, okay, why is this dog acting like this? Let me just grab his chart and see if he's ever done anything like this before. Has he ever been sick? Has he ever been sneezy? Has he ever coughed? So that you've got it like right there for you. Yeah, we have to pull the file.
Yeah. And shouldn't that be done whenever they pull
They're checked
files?
in, yeah.
Or not even that, but like
when they're
everything.
pulled.
I literally think the file is pulled and then it's getting refiled.
Yeah, a lot of times.
I don't
it's not
understand.
Throw it back in the pile.
I don't understand.
I've seen Rach pull them.
Yeah, no, and
So.
I've seen Yeah.
pull boarding files like for the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
but
normally
it shows up on
full
the
days, don't go
schedule.
to the back, so then they
I
get
think
filed
it's just
away.
like a legal thing, like almost like another form of identification,
Yes.
like they just,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
Well, we need those treatment sheets in case we do have to feed them a different kind of food,
Yeah.
so we can mark it off.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes, like for me, I have terrible eyesight and I can't see those little words that say their name. So if it has their chart next to it and I can see, okay, that says Riley in big letters,
Yeah.
it just makes it quicker when you have to pull their food out of the blue bin.
Yeah.
And even if we can just do a run by off our checklist in the evenings of the new ones that came in, make sure those sheets are in the.
That's a good idea. Can we just add that to our list? As
Well,
like
I would
a-
include it with our kennel check
Okay,
in the
the one
evenings
back there.
when we
Okay.
have our kennel check.
Speaking of the kennel check, person doing kennels cannot initial off on the kennel check.
What-
Oh, up here?
Yeah, Macy's
No, that's
initialed
for
it
us,
on
yeah,
it a
that's
few
for us to
times.
double check.
Person doing
them.
kennels does not initial
Oh.
kennels.
I
Yeah,
get
that's
what
for
you're
us to
saying.
double
Oh,
check.
gosh,
They
I
have to
thought-
be checked
I
by
thought
an
you meant back
additional
there.
person
Yeah,
to
it's
make sure
checks
that's
and
done.
balances.
I definitely didn't know
I
that,
did
so
not know
that's a
that.
good
I didn't know she
heads
was
up.
doing it either.
So is it the one back there? So you go
So the one that's here by,
Ours.
that's for the
Treatment.
text at the end of the
to do
day,
the
to double check what's going on back with the borders.
When
to
they're
make sure-
done,
So
when they're
we
done,
check,
okay.
we check.
so
So
they
when
know.
the person doing borders checks that off, it's like, okay, there's nobody, but now there's nobody checking you.
Oh,
And
okay.
everybody has to, you know, it's just the thing,
Yeah.
everybody should be double checked on everything, but
Okay.
yeah, that's our job to go back through and make sure that everything
I
got
have no
completed
idea. I've been
properly.
like, oh, I did that, check it all, because that's what Tiffany
Which is
showed
the-
me.
we're down
The
with
check,
on-
it's not you, the checks on the door of the kennels is for the kennel workers. The checks next to our counter
Oh,
is
no, I
for
gotta
the
touch that
technicians.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah,
usually,
so it's
it
not
Macy
you.
Tiff
So
was
the
doing
one
it.
by the kennel is for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was
Yeah.
like,
That's for.
I thought it was
There's a
supposed to.
technician checklist in the back area for us, and the kennel workers have been initialing off on the kennels.
And the whiteboards, like you can check off on the whiteboards
Yeah.
too, that's totally
Yeah.
for you guys if you've done that,
So
but
well,
the
and so
other
that you
one's
can
for us.
see that
Yeah, that it was done.
and confirm the two.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any other heads ups or process improvements? I don't have any heads ups or anything that I know of. Okay. Tanette, do you wanna teach us about vaccines?
It's just a little cursory thing because we had a client call, please don't follow me. And, there you go. We had a client call a couple weeks ago that wanted to know what vaccine her puppies got. And her, you know, said a distemper, and she's right, it got a distemper vaccine, but this particular client wanted to know what was in the distemper vaccine. So we just wanna make sure that we all understand what DHLPP stands for. D.
Distemper.
I call it a DH, DA2. Distemper, A2, H.
Oh,
The
it's
A2.
like, what, A2? I don't know.
If you call it a DHLPP, you'll know what the H stands for.
Adenovirus.
Hepatitis.
I'd say so, that's that, yeah.
L.
Okay, I didn't know
P.
that.
The first P.
No, I know, we're like in a row
And the
over here.
second P.
I know these, they need to know.
Parainfluenza, right. There's also another one on the market that throws Corona in at the end, and you'll hear those called DHLPPCs. We don't vaccinate for Corona. I don't know that a lot of people vaccinate
We
for
used
Corona
to.
anymore.
Yeah,
But
so
we
it
don't
used to be on the
anymore.
computer that way,
Yeah.
not anymore.
I think we stopped, even in Hot Springs, we stopped vaccinating for it. And then the feline distemper is FVR, is feline viral rhinotracheitis. Go ahead, you can
I
say
don't know what it is about that name, it always makes me laugh.
FVRC, the second one is Kalichi virus, which is also one of those upper respiratory things. Those cats have nasty, nasty eyes. And then the P is panleukopenia, which, if I recall correctly, looks more like parvo in a cat. And then our last P,
Or C,
or C.
we say P.
You guys call it a FVRCPP. Other places call it an FVRCPC, but it's chlamydia psittaci is that last little component. So it sort of vaccinates them for all of those viral upper respiratory things in Panleuk.
And as a cheat, like if anyone asks you, it's on the sticker.
It is,
Yeah.
it's literally spelled out on the
But it
sticker.
is, I mean, it's important to know. We have our shorthand, but.
On the sticker,
Right, so sometimes I'll be looking at vaccines and they'll like.
not on the chart, we don't put that sticker on the chart, we put on the sticker on the bottles in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
Like the blue sticker that we put on the chart just has numbers on it.
Yeah, like whenever I look at Apple, I'm like,
Yeah, the other
talking
half of the
someone.
sticker that stays on the bottles, it has the,
The December one though.
the December does, yeah, the
But I
dog
had-
one does,
Not
the
the
cats
cat one.
don't.
Okay, true.
I've had to kind of learn
It's on the
like,
bottle, yeah.
as nobody, like rabies.
Oh, when we're in the
Bordetella,
rabies
those are
vaccine.
pretty self-explanatory,
Right
or
on.
even like the
Right
ones
on.
that have like, the acronyms, I'm like, they're like, what else do I have? I'm like,
I mean, I guess
oh,
the
okay,
note,
that's distemper, left, I'm like just trying to guess, or I know that I need to work on like making sure that I have that down and know what it is,
Sure,
right,
right.
not be get you
Because eventually
something.
somebody's gonna ask, and it's always nice to be able to rattle off distemper, hepatitis, leptospirosis, parvovirus,
I'll
parainfluenza.
have to write
Because
that
then it's
down.
like, okay, we know what they're talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna get some documents so that everybody has that.
Yeah, so next time around, I think what we'll do is we'll actually put together, Kim had a really cool brochure that we put together for the puppy packs. It has like a list of the vaccines, like why we vaccinate, what we vaccinate, for the time frame, which we start them when they're babies, obviously, 6, 8 weeks. They
Those
get
are still on the
vaccinated.
computer, just no one prints them besides me, I don't know why.
I like them in the puppy packs.
I was trying to
They're
find
very
them.
handy.
Would be good for new
They're
people too.
under,
Receptionist.
the, out of mark filing area,
Okay.
it says canine.
So we'll do that next time.
Yeah.
We'll print those out and we'll go into depth of like what these diseases look like, you know, when they come through the door, how prevalent they really are, because a lot of them you don't see anymore. But that's because we vaccinate for them.
I have one note, so when people, so we vaccinate for Bordetella, and people will call it kennel cough. And, I mean, you might get, and you can always refer this question back to one of the texts if they call in your reception, but, you know, people will ask why their dog's still coughing if they've had the kennel cough vaccine. And so, what people are trying to change kennel cough to is canine infectious respiratory disease complex. Because there's like 10 different things, you know, parainfluenza, some different bacterias, all sorts of different things that can make them cough. So sometimes you will hear that, and if you're stuck on what to say, you know, we vaccinate for what we can, but there are other things that they can still pick up.
It's like every vaccine, I mean, it only does one strain.
You know, I think when people started calling every cough kennel cough a long time ago, they kind of dug themselves a hole, but, yeah, lots of things.
So, a fact that I learned yesterday, our vaccine distributor, if your puppy or dog is up to date on the Bordetella vaccine and they were to get something that they suspect is that, then they will pay for the testing to confirm it and treat it. So if we have,
Respiratory,
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
so,
so what happens
Isn't that just zoetis though?
yeah, zoetis, yeah.
So what happens if they test for it, the test comes back negative? Do they still cover the cost of the test?
They should.
Yeah, they still cover the cost of the test, and if
I was gonna
It's
say, cause
worth
we don't
calling-
typically test, we
No.
just treat.
yeah,
The vet at that meeting said it was worth calling, you know, that, the same number you'd call if you had a reaction or something, you know, calling them to make sure. But she said they'd cover it, not just
Yeah.
like reimburse, but,
Now, are we talking about the
Right.
influenza one, or are we talking about
so
Bordetella?
anything that is respiratory, so
Okay.
say you have a
Okay.
dog in, now I don't know about other, I mean, obviously if we thought a dog had parvo
Yeah.
and they're vaccinated for parvo, I mean, they might too. But,
Yeah. she says to call, yeah.
But the respiratory, so let's say, and the nice thing was we only have zoetis, we don't have zoetis bordetella, but because we have zoetis distemper and it covers, supposedly covers parainfluenza and distemper, we can use that
Okay,
to say,
As a
you know, we
stepping
don't
stone.
know
right.
Yeah.
what this
I
dog
think
has.
one of
Let's
our
see.
Bordertellas is zoetis.
Yeah, one of our
Is it?
Bordertellas is
One of them
zoetis.
is, okay.
It
Yeah.
might be the oral.
But just even then having a distemper gives you that, you know, ability
Yeah.
Cool,
for now.
cool.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
job.
no,
To
and
get
so,
easier to-
yeah, so they'll cover the test costs, and then if it turns out that they are positive for it, then they will cover the cost of the treatment as
Right
well,
on.
as long as they're up to date on that vaccine.
Cool, good to
Yeah.
know.
Does everyone know why we have 2 influenza vaccines?
No.
Because they're two different strains. Okay. Constant people.
And
I'm
that's-
recommending to everyone just to get both.
Strains, right?
And
If you're gonna
that's
go to
for,
the kennel, you might as well
Yeah.
have them both if they're gonna require one,
Yeah.
especially since
Only
they
a
don't
few dollars
specify a
difference.
requirement.
If they are picking one,
I haven't had one pick one yet, all of them are saying just
yeah,
influenza.
They actually make that vaccine the bivalent that is just one injection.
yeah, probably some of them. If they are, I think the more recent one is the N2 that they're concerned about if they do have to pick.
and how prevalent is that?
That there's a lot of debate.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, the respiratory specialist at the meeting said, well, you know, I think the numbers on the chart were like, you know, in the really low you know, like 6 cases a month or something like that. However, she said, which is true, that there's a small percentage actually looking for it, so.
Okay.
And we are not in an endemic area. It was never
No,
been
I mean, the
diagnosed
highest
yet.
numbers were all those places where they had the outbreaks,
Right.
basically.
Right.
The first time Chicago.
But the reason that they vaccinate for that is because you don't wanna be the first kennel in St. Louis to
That's
be
what they're
flooded.
saying, yeah, it's not really that prevalent, it's just to,
Yeah.
get ahead of things maybe.
And we try to stay up with like the city, county area whenever they, post something about like distemper cases found in like, I guess raccoons?
And just so we know, Arnold is a hotbed of distemper right now, so we are seeing it in our wildlife like crazy. I think we have really good compliance with our clients for vaccinating. I wasn't always that lucky where I came from, but you know, it's a good thing to drive home to people that if you have wildlife in your backyard, it's imperative that you keep your pets away from those guys. I had a raccoon in my subdivision that was positive for distemper, and it had babies and a mate in the creek behind us that they couldn't catch, so that we are loaded with distemper right now.
How is that is it transmitted with young or?
I mean, it'll be bodily fluids, but I have to look up how long that stays in the environment,
Yeah.
cause I have to look that up for Mrs. Freeman, whose dog we check titers on, and the distemper titer's not up to date, but
I don't think it lives very long outside of the body.
I don't think it did. If it did, I think we'd see more cases if
Right.
it was anything
Right,
like
right,
that.
but if
No,
your
I don't
dog
think it
is
does.
walking up to a
I think you have to
and
have
sniffing,
fairly
you're in
close
trouble.
contact, right after the animal was there.
And Zoetis also has where we can look up, I think I have the form, the efficacy over the course of time, so like at 6 months after having the vaccine, 15 months, I think something else, and what each vaccine is, like,
Oh, okay, so like, are they like duration of immunity studies?
yeah,
Okay.
I believe that. Any other important things about vaccines?
No, not this time, not this
Okay.
time, but we'll get a little bit more comprehensive
Okay.
now that I've got a heads up.
And also just from a like legal compliance, a lot of people ask like, oh, I never like register my pet, and we have to legally tell them they need to, but it is obviously up to them to comply with that, and if not, then they're going to get fined if their dog gets picked up and quarantined.
Is that just within Arnold? Or is that all?
It's Jefferson, so
Jefferson.
Jefferson
It's
County,
Jefferson
yeah, and the
County.
only way Jefferson County is gonna bust you is if your animal is running loose, and then
Yeah.
the worst thing that they're gonna do is make you get the
Yeah.
license. The
Or if
second,
someone complains.
yeah,
Yeah.
the second offense is when you're gonna start to get fined, and then the third offense,
You
they're
said
gonna make
there's
you
something
like,
special with Arnold, there's not something special with Arnold, that was just.
well, I mean, you
We're
have
in
animal-
Arnold, so they're already getting a tag for Arnold.
Yeah.
Right,
we already
right,
done that.
okay, but that was when the
So-
people came by to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
but
that
we
was
have
different.
like animal, and nobody here is ever gonna rat residents out. I think that a lot of times clients think that we're gonna rat them out for not doing, what the law would like for them to do.
Yeah.
It's imperative that
Yeah.
they understand what the law is so that they're equipped to make those decisions, but we can't
Yeah.
make them do
Yeah.
what they don't wanna do. Like Arnold has a maximum, animal, legally, you can only have 5 animals, no more than 3 of them can be dogs. So you
Okay.
can't have more than 3 dogs
That's
inside.
normal for a lot of counties.
Yeah, inside
that-
the city limits,
Yeah.
you cannot have more than 3 dogs. You can have 5 cats, you can have 5 animals, but no more than 3 of those guys can be dogs.
Yeah,
So
I let
stuff
clients,
like that.
I let clients know that, and once they walk out the door, it's up to them.
Yeah.
You will actually be ticketed though if there is a dog fight that is called in and the animal's not registered. Jefferson County will ticket you.
In Jefferson County? Well, that's good. That needs to
A
happen.
friend of mine's neighbor
You
got
need to get
ticketed,
River
so.
registered.
So if I live in like unincorporated Jefferson County, I can like have as many dogs as I want.
I don't know what the rules are in unincorporated Jefferson County. I think that they have animal, I don't know. I don't know.
if they have a legal I think it's just as long as each of them
They
are
just want
cared for
everybody
properly,
licensed.
have proper homing
Which again,
and care.
Just don't hoard.
I don't think they have a number requirement though.
and honestly,
Cause there's a lot of farming properties out in the.
honestly,
think so
the only stipulations for taking care of an animal in the state of Missouri is that it has food, water, and shelter. That shelter could be a trampoline. They don't care.
Yeah,
Which is unfortunate.
It's
Yeah.
property.
yeah.
It's
But yeah,
property.
I don't think Jefferson County has too many specifications because of how many farming areas there are in Jefferson County.
That's true.
Breeders, lots of breeders, and then you run into that thing too, where even in the city of Arnold, you can have as many dogs as you want if they're under the age of 4 months.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I think it's just good to know these things for when your client asks, and that you're giving them good information, because that is,
yeah, and if you don't know,
They can always
ask.
call animal
Yeah,
control.
yeah,
or we
yeah,
can
absolutely,
refer
absolutely.
them there.
most people don't, generally ask, but a lot of times if they're not doing it, when we give them that form, they're like, why do I have to do this?
Rachel always tells them, and we got a little cynical about it in House Springs when we found out where the money was going for Jefferson County. Rachel always tells them, here's your paperwork, you should register, follow your heart.
Yeah, no, I usually tell them, I was like, once you walk up, I'm no judgment, but this is what I have to tell you.
Yeah, the money goes into a general fund, it does not go back to animal control,
Gotcha, good
period.
news.
Totally messed up.
Yes,
Which have you ever gone and seen it?
I mean, they
See,
need help,
Really just
they need help,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Exactly.
problem. But there's a lot of rescues that pull from JCAC anymore,
Which is awesome.
so, yeah, it's not because of the money that you're spending on your license,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. Good to know. So I guess we can move on to the positive part of the
I
meeting.
actually have one more thing I should
Yeah.
mention at the beginning, but I didn't.
Sure.
We're having some inventory issues with Hill's Food. So I don't think anyone is, but I wanna make sure that no one's changing any on-hands or anything like that, or sales numbers or anything outside of just selling a product. So don't go into the system and change any numbers unless it's, obviously Julie, Lindsay, or me.
How do you do that?
Exactly.
You double click
Don't-
on it
you don't
and
need
change
to know.
Like, I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah.
You double click on it and change it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if everyone has the ability to do so,
No.
but all the numbers are kind of getting wacky every week, so just wanted to make sure. And then the return list that is in the binder is still there, however not being used. So if anyone takes any food in from a client that is returning food, please write it down so it can be returned to the company so we get our money back for that product.
Right on.
Good to know. Awesome.
I'll be gone next week, but Julie will be doing the food order on Monday, so.
Okay, I can check it in on Wednesday. Awesome. So shout outs, I heard Mr. Rain was the name?
Yes.
He was up front and he said that we just made things so easy for him and we were so friendly and got him in and out really quickly. And so that's awesome.
Nice, very nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess not used.
Nice things to say in the room too, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah, about everyone.
Awesome. That's great. And so we'll just do the something you appreciate about somebody this week, or how they helped you out, like we did, we did last week. So,
Who dealt with that spider?
Once again, can I thank Julie and Courtney for taking care of the spider that tried to kill us.
I'm
on
pretty sure it's
Tuesday
mostly
morning.
Courtney, I just screamed.
Thank you for alerting us to the presence of said spider.
She was making sure that I didn't get eaten by the spider. That's what she was doing.
I was Courtney's encouragement, sort of.
yeah.
Which means go kill that spider right now. Under penalty of being fired. Kill that spider.
I did call, by the way. Heads up.
Yeah.
Alarm
system, defense system.
Well, I texted Courtney before she came in the door and told her she had a giant spider to kill. When she got here, she said, okay, thanks.
And then walked right past it.
Yep,
and
ran
refused to kill
past
it.
Gotcha. So not so helpful.
But I got it under a bowl.
Oh yeah. That's
Good job. Good job. Oh yeah, Dr. Shelton was actually. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Shelton, for killing the spider.
I won't kill the spiders. I won't pick up the wild snakes. That
Did you hear how big the spider was?
Yes, it was huge.
This was the body.
maybe, I don't know. It's like a really big shoe or something.
yeah.
Like a big, I don't have to use my hand.
That's why Courtney wouldn't touch it.
Yes, I was afraid it was gonna go crawl up my leg if I did, if I missed
Okay,
it.
okay, with the spiders, I'm sorry. Let's just move on.
Move on. Okay.
You can do it. You can do it.
It's nice that it's a Swiffer, like, cause it's kinda big and it's far away from you. Like a Swiffer.
I'm having nightmares. I'm literally having nightmares.
Anybody else?
I can go. I wanted to thank Julie for helping me yesterday when I had to bring my sister's dog up because my other dog
Tuesday.
attacked it. Oh no. Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
We saw a bunch
He's
of dogs
alive.
that day that had been attacked. It was just one of those days.
Yeah.
Big dog, little dog day.
I don't know if I have one person because you all help me a lot every day with all of those animals that try to eat me. Make it easier for me since I can't get up and down, so shout out to everyone.
Or bodyguard, animal bodyguard. I want to thank. Go ahead.
Thanks to Sanette for helping me with my cat stuff yesterday. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And medications and entering it and stuff.
What's wrong with the cat?
Major ear infection. And then he got locked out this morning.
Oh. Happened to my cat too.
I have one for Rachel. I really appreciate how you always just jump in and do things, like, I'll be like, oh, I wonder if I should ask somebody to do that, and I'm like, oh, Rachel's already doing it, like, arranging the furniture and like, just sweeping things when they need to be taken care of, or during lunch doing all the like.
Constant motion.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm always like, oh, I should ask somebody to do that, and then you're already
It's
in
the
the
ADD.
process, yeah. Hey, benefits.
It really helps.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to say, I don't know if you watched the video from last week, but I said shout out to Dr. Sadko because you stayed late to help me with my puppy. And she is getting better, so I'm glad I brought her in and realized that something was up. And also shout out to Kim this week because I realized every time I work, you're working. So you're always like my guide. Like, I'm like your little apprentice. So thanks for putting up with that and for teaching me.
No problem.
Anyone else?
To Net for making it fairly easy on my cat with blood draws.
Oh, you're welcome.
Always hitting the vein.
You're
and-
welcome. So far, so good, man.
Yes,
That's
I
all I
know.
can say.
Man, that cat yesterday was
So far,
rough.
so good.
Yeah, we got a lot of
I can't.
I can't really think of any one person in specific, like, that's, this week, that doesn't mean nothing's happened. I'm just like, really, like, woo. So, but everybody is really helpful and like, everybody's really cool. And the one thing I can say, and I did message her about this last night, but I wanna say this publicly, Tanette is honestly just such like, I don't know, she's just really inspirational to me, and like, she's really made me have more of a passion for veterinary medicine. In fact, all of you have, like, working here has made my passion for veterinary medicine spike even more. I didn't know that was possible, but like, every day I'm like, I can't wait to be a vet, and like,
Good.
working here is really exciting for me.
Good. We're here to help. Always here to help.
Anybody else?
I think everybody
I think that was it.
Yeah, that was everybody.
So there's not really many of us here.
Yeah, really.
Also,
Okay, go for it.
dead spider carcass over by that Diet Coke Peppa pan.
It's
Fine.
teeny
It's dead.
tiny.
It's not moving, and it's little.
It's teeny tiny.
On that
It's
note,
that
you can shut it off.